young, or am I faking? On the tip of my tongue, there's a sarcasm waiting for you. I'm willing to trade my soul for a bit of your charm. There's no way I fade into oblivion, 'cause I'll keep shining over you all. And if your wings entwining, you better face the fall, keep trying again. Oh yeah, keep trying again. There's mud on the floor, disparate people trying to get through the door, although the room's already crowded. But I'll keep shining over you all. And if your wings entwining, you better face the fall, keep trying again. Oh yeah, keep trying again. Zeros, everybody's trying to be heroes, when all they have to say to be okay is I don't know. And keep trying again. I'll keep shining over you all. With your wings entwining, you better face the fall. Zero, everybody's trying to be heroes, when all they have to say to be okay is I don't know. Are you okay? I'm not that sure. Forever young, or am I faking? On the tip of my tongue, there's a sarcasm waiting for you. I'm willing to trade my soul for a bit of your charm. There's no way I fade into oblivion, 'cause I'll keep shining over you all. And if your wings entwining, you better face the fall, keep trying again. Oh yeah, keep trying again. There's mud on the floor, disparate people trying to get through the door, although the room's already crowded. But I'll keep shining over you all. And if your wings entwining, you better face the fall, keep trying again. Oh yeah, keep trying.
Hello and welcome to Atlanta Motor Speedway for the Cup Championship finale. It's the Great Lakes 250, and Jacob Branski can lock up the title tonight here in the championship race. His only contender is Elliott Henderson. I'm joined in the booth by Alex. Alex, how we doing?
Doing all right. We're here at Atlanta Motor Speedway, an interesting mile and a half. We got a decent sized field today, about 15, 16 cars, so we're actually gonna have a pretty spicy race going on.
This should definitely be a good one. We have 16 cars out here competing in the Great Lakes 250, but only 2 of them are in championship contention at this point. You have championship leader Jacob Branski, and then second in points coming into today, you have Elliott Henderson, who's 16 points out. We have 16 drivers in this race, so basically for Henderson to get that championship, he's going to need a lot of help. He's going to need Branski to finish dead last, and Henderson's going to have to go out there and probably lead the most laps here today, Alex, if he wants to win the championship.
Best case scenario here for Elliott Henderson is that he leads laps, Branski doesn't find his way to the front, and he finishes at the back of the field. But the likelihood of that is very unlikely, as what makes it even worse for tonight is Elliott Henderson didn't make a qualifying run, so he's going to be starting dead last on the field, while Jacob Branski is going to be starting in the 6th position.
Yeah, according to my knowledge, Elliott Henderson was running a little bit late tonight and showed up just a few moments ago, I'm pretty sure, to the server. Mr. Elliott Henderson, he'll be starting, like you said, Alex, in dead last, 16th place. So it's going to be an uphill battle for him all day if he wants a shot at this championship. It would be another championship for Elliott Henderson. It would be his first not in the trucks. But Jacob Branski looking to make it where there's 2 new Great Lakes champions in 1 week, as we crowned Ashton Lawson for the championship for the Truck Series on Tuesday. His second Great Lakes Series championship, his first in the Truck Series, and then we can crown a new champion as well here today with Jacob Branski in the Cup Series.
Yeah, it's definitely going to be interesting for sure, because, I mean, these 2 guys have been locked in a great battle the entire year, but now with the points just being just that much far apart between the 2 of them, it's going to make it hard for Elliott to battle up there. But with how they've been racing this year, running up front at the front of the fields for almost every single race, I would not say it's impossible. Don't take them out of it yet.
We're going to go through a little bit of our starting lineup here. On the pole, looks like we have Tom Bourne, driver of the number 54. You guys already saw some of this starting lineup. Zachary Henry will be starting second in the number 39, looking to get another victory on the season.
Down there in the second row, we got Hunter Madalinas and Brandon Barkuski, GLR regulars, coming in.
Next row number 3 in the 5th spot. In the number 34, you have Robert Kenny. And then on the outside of the number 23, looking to lock up that championship, Jacob Branski, a.k.a. the Dog.
Following them is last year's champion, Christopher Heller, sadly not able to run for the title this week, but alongside him will be Jacob Manning.
In the next row number 5, in the 9th spot on the inside of the number 4 machine, you have Zach Rogers making an appearance here tonight. On the outside, making another appearance here in the Great Lakes Cup Series. In the 61, you have Bronson Stafford starting 10th.
Just behind them is typically a truck driver, Tyler Mcclellan, coming alongside the 5 of Matthew Daniels, a Cup regular.
In the next row, in the 13th spot on the inside, you have Nick Martin in the 42. And then Tyler Dwyer on the outside, making his first appearance in Great Lakes competition.
Rounding out the field is Lewis Woodall, and as we mentioned before, Elliott Henderson at the back of the field.
Looks like we're going to go green flag racing here at Atlanta Motor Speedway for 162 laps around Atlanta Motor Speedway. A little over a mile and a half here in Hampton, Georgia. And the number 54 of Tom Bourne, he's going to lead him to the green flag, his first pole of the season, and which I think is his 3rd start on the year. And that number 54 machine, Zachary Henry, will be on his outside. Madalinas right in behind him. Barkuski on the outside in 4th. Let's watch this initial start as we go green flag for one more time here in the Great Lakes Cup Series. A great start from Henry on the outside. It looked like he might have actually beaten him to the line. I don't know if he could do that, Alex.
Well, we'll see if he has a black flag if he comes around the next time to come into the pit lane, but I don't believe he should. The green flag was out, and you can do that. If the green flag is out, you can pass the leader.
Here comes Tom Bourne Tom Bourne leads the field. Madalena's right there in second. We have a battle now developing for the third spot between Robert Kenny and Zachary Henry. Here comes Christopher Heller, last season's champion. He's just out of reach when it comes to the points. Looks like he might finish in third when it comes to the standings this season, but he wants to finish off this season with a victory. Looking strong here on the inside of the 39 of Zachary Henry.
Yeah, you got some unfamiliar faces running strong at the front of the field in this series, so that's what makes it interesting for these guys to have to deal with. Typically, Cup regulars are now having to deal with a bunch of outsiders coming in and running well.
Yeah, this cup group has been a tight-knit group all season long, and we have some new faces in the field here today, so it's definitely going to throw a monkey wrench into this season finale of the Great Lakes Cup Series. You see heavy battling going into turns 1 and 2. Looks like Tyler Mcclellan all the way up against the wall in that Ryan Newman throwback.
What would be important to note is down in the 9th position, Jacob Branski actually lost some spots on the restart. He's down towards the middle of the pack now, but he is a part of this front area of the field while Elliott Henderson's struggling to make his way up to the front.
Today for Jacob Branski, he's doing what he needs to do. I feel like he's just maybe trying to stay out of trouble for now, because that's all he really needs to do. As long as he doesn't wreck or have any mechanical failures or anything crazy happen. Right when I say that, we're going 3 wide here. Branski on the inside, Rogers in the middle. Henry on the outside. Manning gets a little loose off the corner in front of him. But I think Branski's best deal here today is just really keep that car clean and just stay out of trouble. As long as he does that, he will have a championship.
Yeah, and that's what I'm worried about where he is right now. He's right in the hornet's nest of the dogfight. This is where a lot of position changes are going to happen, so a lot of accidents are going to happen at this section of the field, and he'll be headlong into a wreck that happens around him.
Watching Jacob Branski as he tries to make the pass on Zach Rogers on his inside, not able to stick to his inside as Rogers gets the run off the corner and takes the spot for now. That's the 7th. This is a battle for the 7th position. Here's the onboard look of Jacob Branski, the dog, as he tries to get that championship here today. He's right here behind Rogers, just taking his time, it looks like, for now.
It seems he could just be biding his time, and for now that will work out. He's just got to make sure that he doesn't cause anything, and if he sees something, he gets as far out of the way as possible, because the last thing he wants is to wreck.
It looks like we could have a battle for the lead here developing here pretty soon. Madalenas has been catching up to Tom Bourne awfully quickly the last few laps. But here you see Henderson trying to make his way through the field as well. Moved up a couple spots. But there you see Madalenas. He's making up ground on Tom Bourne these last couple of laps. He's been around a 10th quicker almost every lap. That last time by, they were very close in speed. Looked like Bourne actually had a very slight advantage. But Madalenas has been trying to catch up to this number 54 of Tom Bourne, who started on the pole. Madalenas trying to snag one more win before we go into the off-season when it comes to the Great Lakes Series.
And the one thing that's been interesting to watch him do is he's been trying multiple lanes. He's not just been following Tom Bourne around the track. He's been trying the high side down in 1 and 2 and was doing up in 3 and 4 early in the race. So he's chosen a bunch of different lanes to make some lap time around here.
4 drivers here lined up. See Jacob Manning over here, Brandon Burkuski, it looks like Jacob Branski and Zach Rogers all battling for positions here. 5th on back. Looking pretty tough right now. Manning in that number 1 machine. He's shown a lot of speed this season, but he just doesn't have the finishes.
Yeah, Jacob Manning has been strong, especially on the short runs, but I think that could possibly be a bit of a shortcoming as he just runs so well early on that he could just lose out on the tire and the car handling longer into the runs, and that seems to be a trend with him so far.
Here's Branski still sitting in behind Rogers. He's kind of buying his time. We have a battle for the 3rd spot developing, it looks like now. Christopher Heller on the inside of the 34 of Robert Kenny. I was mentioning how he's just outside that championship battle between Henderson and Branski. He's not going to be able to get 2 straight championships, unfortunately. But he's going to try to finish out this season with the victory in that number 11 for 2511 Racing.
It should be nice to note as well as last season here in this series, this was the track where he ended up getting wrecked and got a bunch of damage and still managed to finish inside the top 5 incredibly. We actually interviewed him later that night, and somehow he just had the pace to hold on to the front of the field. So with a brand new race car this time around, we should be seen as strong as, yeah, the battle for the lead. Madalena's gotten to the outside of Tom Bourne. That different lane's been helping him out, and he's making the move.
Yeah, Madalenas has been riding this high side for a good amount these last couple of laps, but he's been switching it up a little bit here and there in that number 95 machine. Madalinas just has a lot of speed up there against the wall. I'm just wondering who is using up more tires here. I'm wondering if Madalinas might be using up more tires than the 54 right now doing that. And Bourne's going to follow in right behind him for now.
Yeah, some tracks you might just say, oh yeah, the track position's just worth it. The tire wear, you can deal with that just by having clean air. But here at Atlanta, it's such high tire wear. Your tires shred like a cheese grater, as Larry McReynolds would say. And even though Madalinas now has the clean air out in front of the field, it could really come to bite him later in this run.
Bourne is fighting back on the inside. He is not giving up at all on this race lead. He's been peeking his nose. He does not want to give up on this race lead quite yet. Now he's going to try the high side while Madalinas is down low. See how it works for the number 54 of Tom Bourne. That G Fuel machine trying to snag the lead back from the number 95 of Hunter Madalinas, a.k.a. the closer.
Yeah, I don't mean to take anything away from this frontward battle, but there's a absolute gaggle of cars around the 5th, 6th, 7th, 8th position around here. These guys are going crazy over here. I'm almost seeing wrecking. Zachary Henry almost got into the wall.
Henry almost spun it out off of 1 and 2 and then almost hit his car into the wall after trying to save the car. Number 39 of Zachary Henry, a phenomenal save, and he's going to stay here with the pack. He's going to keep up as well. Henry has shown his speed this season, especially the last 2 or 3 months. He's had a lot of speed. He's gotten a couple of victories. We're going to see what he can do here today, but Henderson in that white machine, that white 37, he has came to play. He has joined the conversation. He's entered the top 10 for the first time today. And that number 37 right in there behind the 61 of Bronson Stafford.
Yeah, and right there in the middle of that pack as well is his championship rival, Jacob Branski. He is absolutely strapped in the middle of this pack. He's really got almost nowhere to go, and Elliott's right behind him looking to gain some spots.
Elliott just taking his time getting through these drivers here. He knows what he needs to do. He knows what he needs. He needs to get up there and try to get to the lead and lead as many laps as he possibly can and hope that Branski has some sort of issue. Right now, Branski is hanging out right in the middle of this gaggle of cars in that number 23 machine.
He is starting to make some moves again, making up some spots and getting towards the front of this pack to get himself away from the danger, because for a while there, he was right in the middle of it, and it was really looking scary there for our championship leader.
And I'm looking at our front four right now. It looks like Madalinas and Bourne have fallen off a good amount. Last time by, they both ran 32.6s, while Christopher Heller and Jacob Manning, the number 11 and the number 1, not too far behind them, both ran 32.4s. So Heller and Manning are flying right now compared to that front two of Madalinas and Bourne, as this gaggle of cars just continues to go at it back here. It looks like Talladega back here right now.
Yeah, it really is, and that's just the nature of this car. That high spoiler, the high downforce, it just makes it that this kind of racing is just what happens with these race cars. And honestly, it's probably helping them, as a lot of these guys typically would be draining tire, but that draft is just so strong, it's helping them keep pace.
These guys are battling back here. Bourne has gotten back up to Madalinas as well, and they're beginning to battle it out again once again as well. A lot of good battles going on around this racetrack at Atlanta Motor Speedway, which possibly could be the last trip for the Great Lakes Series to Atlanta, as it is getting repaved. It will be on iRacing in the spring. I'm just curious on how that repave is really going to go and how is it going to feel, Alex?
Well, the thing is, you mentioned, man, it's starting to look like a plate race, he said. Well, imagine at the new Atlanta with the higher banking, the smoother race surface. These guys are really going to be running a plate race after that.
Here comes Henderson, and the 37 continues to move up. He's trying to take away this 8th spot right now from Zach Rogers in the number 4 machine. Right now, Branski runs in 5th. Not really missing anything up front right now. Madalina still has around a car length gap between himself and Tom Bourne.
Oh, Tom Bourne just got into the wall. He hit the wall off turn 2, and now he has some pretty significant right front damage.
I've seen that in the quarter mile. It looked like he got a little loose off the corner and just, I don't know what he did. It looked like he maybe just overcorrected it in like the middle of the back straightaway, early part of the back straightaway. Not sure exactly what happened there with the 54, but he did get into the wall, and he has pretty significant right front damage. I don't know how badly that is going to affect him. Atlanta is one of those tracks, especially with this race car. Like, we're racing the truck the other night, and we saw how the damage affected the trucks. This race car, it's a whole different ball game. It's way worse if you get some damage on that right front.
Yeah, especially since these guys are going a lot faster than a truck does, with just as much downforce. So the moment you lose any of that aerodynamic grip, it's just an absolute screamer trying to get around this racetrack, as already Christopher Heller and Jacob Manning are right on his bumper looking to make the pass.
Christopher Heller and Jacob Manning going to try to make the pass on Tom Bourne. On a consistent basis, these two drivers have been faster than Bourne and Madalinas. What can they do now that they're here at Tom Bourne's bumper? Here comes Heller to the inside, and then number 11 machine for 2511 Racing, followed by Jacob Manning in the number 1. Can Manning make something happen here too? Manning's been very, like I said, he's been very strong this season, but he does not have the finishes. He's going to follow Bourne on the outside and give him a push and try to leapfrog past Heller. This could be a phenomenal move from Manning. He's going to make it 3 wide. Manning going to make it 3 wide, it looks like here, poking his nose in the middle.
He did a good job keeping it out of Tom Bourne there as it gets really tight, as Tom is really struggling down that back straightaway. I'm not sure what's going on with the handling of that race car, but he's driving it towards the wall about halfway down the straight every single time.
Tom Bourne seems to be really struggling with the handling of that race car. Once he gets off the corner, through the middle of the corner, he just seems like he has so much speed. But when he comes off, that car just wants to get loose on him. It seems like the number 54 machine right now still trying to hold tough in that third spot. Well, Jacob Manning now gets underneath them, and Heller's going to try to drive away and catch up to Madalinas. Madalinas is around a second ahead of Heller right now. Oh, and there goes Manning! Oh my gosh, Manning and Bourne! What happened? Oh, Bronson Stafford! Oh, and Henderson! Henderson's on the brakes! Oh, and Henderson's not going to make through it. And that might be the championship right there. Henderson with significant damage to that 37 machine. Tried his best to stop the car, but just couldn't.
That is going to be some terrible damage for Elliott. There's just nowhere to go there. 2 cars sideways and upside down in front of him, and now he's got terrible damage that is going to significantly affect his championship hopes.
I'm not sure what happened going into 3 and 4. I immediately heard Manning come on the radio, was pretty upset, and I'm not sure what happened there. Bourne was on his outside. I'm curious if one of them turned high or one of them turned low and got into each other coming into the corner. That also took out Bronson Stafford in all of that as well. Stafford has been strong in his few appearances here in the Great Lakes Cup Series and Truck Series. We're going to try to get you a replay on that incident between Tom Bourne and Jacob Manning. Here's Tom Bourne up against the wall on the back straightaway, and he just gets into the wall. It looked like he kind of just got into the wall again, Alex, and then came down and got into the quarter panel of Manning. And I can definitely understand why Manning was upset, because Manning held a straight line right there and turned straight into the wall. Another good car from Manning and another destroyed race car as well.
Yeah, like we were talking about, he's been drifting up towards that wall down that back straightaway, and that time he got into it and it knocked him down into Jacob Manning. It's just one of those things. It's like he's struggling with the race car. He knows that and just wasn't able to avoid it this time. And on top of that, Bronson Stafford as well, possibly blinded from Branski in front of him, might not have been able to see the wreck and just ran into Jacob Manning right afterwards.
Got a feel for Henderson. I was watching Elliott that whole crash, and he was pretty much stopped, just trying to avoid him. But I think it was Stafford who was sliding on his roof. Here's Bronson Stafford. His look at it, sees smoke, smoke, smoke. Doesn't see a car. Bam! Car. Monster Energy can gets crushed, and he just slides down the racetrack. There you see Henderson. It looks like that white and black machine through the windshield of the 61 of Stafford. But a lot of damage to Bronson Stafford. A very destroyed 61 for Flatout Racing Network.
Man, that is just struggling things, especially for here, Elliot Henderson, as we see on the onboard. He's slowing down, just a ton of smoke, and now he sees 2 cars upside down in front of him. He's practically stopped, but the cars are running into him. There was absolutely nothing Elliot could have done to avoid that wreck.
He was just trying to get through 2 spinning tops right there, and those spinning tops destroyed the front end of his race car, the number 37 of Henderson. And with those drivers, that have exited the race, like Stafford, Manning, Bourne, I think we can hand this championship over to Jacob Branski. Jacob Branski, I'm thinking, will be your champion for this season of the Great Lakes Cup Series.
It seems as though that is going to be true, because with Elliott's damage, sometimes you might be able to get away with it, but just with how much front-end damage that he's got, I'm not sure if he's going to be able to find any pace back in that race car.
Elliott Henderson has had a very strong season. It's been a very back and forth season between Henderson and Branski. Henderson and Branski just going back and forth, with Heller just kind of chilling in the background. Those have been your three championship contenders pretty much all season long, but this last race came down to Henderson versus Branski, and with three drivers exiting the race, being Tom Bourne, Jacob Manning, and Bronson Stafford, and then Henderson having the damage that he has, I would say that Branski is most likely going to be your champion, pending on any penalties or stuff like that. But here's Henderson going to at least stay out there and try to get the best finish he can. I'm not sure if Heller is Heller is not within striking distance of Henderson, so Henderson should still be able to get second in points.
Yeah, and as far as I'm aware, barring any points penalty, which I don't believe this series has, I'm pretty sure Jacob Branski should be your 2021 season 3 or 4 Cup Series champion. So, because there's no other cars left in the field, he had to finish last, and now he can't finish last because cars are destroyed.
A couple of destroyed race cars. Branski here in season 3, looking to celebrate, hit the championship after the race. We're going to go green flag racing once again here. After our first caution flag here today in the Great Lakes 250, the season finale of the Great Lakes Cup Series presented by ButtKicker here at Hotlanta, Atlanta Motor Speedway, possibly the last time on this configuration for the Great Lakes Series. Here comes the pace truck onto pit road. Madalena's going to lead him to the green flag on the inside with Branski on his high side. Green flag is waving for Madalena as jumps in front of Branski immediately. Heller is right in behind him, and here comes Robert Kenny in fourth, battling with Rogers and Henry.
Solid battle with Zachary Henry pulling up alongside Zach Rogers. Got no help there in the outside lane. It should allow for Zachary Henry to get the spot, but no, he goes underneath Robert Kenny. That might leave him to hang the drive, but he's holding tough there, looking for that 4th position on him. Robert Kenny was pretty good in qualifying, kind of fell off a little bit on the longer run, but was still pretty solid up there. But Zachary Henry's going to make the move, and now here comes Zach Rogers for the spot.
Zach Rogers looking to get himself into the top 5 for the first time today, and he will. Gets in front of Robert Kenny. Robert Kenny will now fall back to the 6th position. Zach Rogers moves up the spot. Branski, he's going to take the lead from Madalenas in 1 and 2. A phenomenal move. Sent it all the way to the inside, came all the way up right in front of the number 95 Madalenas. Madalenas with the crossover move to the inside. Now he's going to get past Branski once again. Now Branski's going to get off the corner. Is he able to make a move going into 1 and 2? Looks like he will not have a big enough run coming down the front straightaway, but he's still within striking distance of the number 95 machine. Here he goes to the inside once again. The same move he made last time. Can he complete the pass once again this time? Oh, Madalenas is in the wall!
I've been worried about that. He's been leaving himself so vulnerable in that high lane. He just has to drive it so hard, and there he overstepped the boundary and got into the wall. Now he's lost the spot to even Christopher Heller. Down to 3rd, and with damage, he's likely to be dropping very quickly by this point.
Yeah, definitely some decent right side damage, right front damage on the number 95 machine. It looks a little crinkled. I'm looking at it right now, a little crinkled on that right front. Very similar damage to what Tom Bourne had a few moments ago. Madalena's in that 3rd spot now behind Heller and Branski. Heller looking to lock up a championship. Branski's looking to lock up a championship, and Heller looking to get a win before the season's up.
Christopher Heller just wants to make a statement here at the end of the season. He won't be able to challenge for even 2nd in the point standings. He's simply too far away for that. But if you get by Branski, you can make a statement going into the next season that he's going to once again be a championship contender. But right now, Branski's making a statement in himself that he definitely deserves this championship leading the field.
Christopher Heller, after a very, very dominant season number 2, won the championship. Christopher Heller. Let's see how many. He won a good amount of races that season as well. Won 4 races last season. Christopher Heller. He's right now winless here in race number 11. He's finished third, I think, 3 times this season. The number 11 of Christopher Heller. He's sitting in right behind Branski. Branski and Henderson have been the class of the field pretty much all season long. Can Heller snag a win before the season gets up and done with? But here comes Henry and Rogers. They have entered the conversation now as well. And Madalinas hasn't gone anywhere. Even with that right front damage, he's still kept up in that number 95 machine.
I'm definitely surprised to see that. While it isn't too much damage, typically these cars just fall off a cliff when you get a bunch of damage. It might be a false positive, though, as it could be burning the tires up trying to keep up with them. We'll have to see within about 10 to 15 laps from now, but Christopher Heller is making the move for the lead.
Heller looking to take the lead in the number 11 machine for 2511 Racing. He's on the inside. Here comes Madalinas on the high side as well. Heller might be stuck down there. Madalinas is going to get the run off the corner, and he's going to take away the second spot from Heller. You just get no run off the corner down there. You just feel kind of trapped at that point. And Madalinas is going back to his old line all the way up against the wall. Last time he did this line, he got into the wall in turn 2. He almost gets into the wall right there, gets a little loose off the corner. But will hang on to the spot for Heller, and Heller will jump right in front of Henry in the 3rd spot.
Hey, I'd like to point out the 6th car in line there is Elliott Henderson. Believe it or not, that car with how much damage it has is still up here at the front of the field. I don't believe it.
I saw something very similar last season at this exact same track with Christopher Heller. I remember Christopher Heller had a whole bunch of damage here at Atlanta last season, early on in the season, and he was able to keep up and still got a top 5 finish. Can Henderson do the same here today? His championship hopes are gone for that 37, but he's trying to get the best finish he can. Elliott Henderson, I'm just curious how that damage is going to affect his long run pace. How is this affecting his tires? We've seen it before, how damage affects your long run pace. What will happen with the 37, currently running in the 6th spot?
But even still, despite that, he's still hanging on. I mean, we are a good chunk into this run already, and he's still up here. There's a lot of gaggling up at the front of the field. Christopher Heller extremely loose in front of Zachary Henry. Almost got into a wreck there, but managed to save it as Hunter Madalinas finds himself back in the lead.
Yeah, Madalinas back up here leading the field with Branski right in behind him. We have a good battle for 3rd right now between Heller and Henry. Henderson right in behind them, and then you have Zach Rogers rounding out this top 6 of front drivers. But here comes Branski to the inside for the lead once again. Here goes Branski trying to take the race lead once again from Madalinas. These two just keep on going back and forth as they've been doing for around the last 15 laps.
They just keep going at it. Jacob Branski wants this lead. He wants to make a statement. And honestly, I feel like with the damage that Madalinas got from hitting the wall, it's going to be hard for him to lead this pack. He might be almost better off just hanging out in that 2nd or 3rd position and waiting it out till the end of this run.
Well, Madalinas ain't listening right now. He's leading that pack. He's up there on the high side trying to hang tough as much as he can. He's putting a little distance between himself and Branski, even trying to shake the draft a little bit coming down the back straightaway. Has around a car length and a half advantage over Branski. Heller is right in behind Branski. Heller was looked to be the strongest driver on the long run last time. We're getting longer in the run. What happens with Heller? Will Heller really speed up and get past these drivers? Branski wasn't even up here before. Now Branski, what can he do on the long run? We know how he does on these longer runs. He usually has a lot of speed. There's Madalinas breaking the draft once again. Oh, Heller got loose.
Madalinas almost came off the corner and went all the way to the middle of the racetrack. What I'm curious to see with Madalinas is that he's not battling for the lead like he was with Tom Bourne at the front of the field. He's just kind of leading now, not having to struggle and get back to the front. So we'll see if his long run pace is better this time. Typically drivers take that first run to see how they're handling their cars and their tires. And by the 2nd run, the good drivers start to figure it out. So we'll see this time if he's able to hang on.
Heller hanging out in that 3rd spot right behind Branski and Madalinas. Henderson has moved up to 4th. He's hanging tough for now with Rogers and Henry right in behind him. Rogers and Henry, I've been looking at them. It seems like those two have been just taking it the easiest out of this group of drivers, maybe waiting for the long run to make their move.
It could be indeed. And If we could get this here, I would like to see an onboard on Elliott Henderson just to see the kind of damage he's dealing with, because look at that. From his perspective, you can see the hood of the race car sticking up in front of the windshield. The fact that he's able to hang on to the front of the pack with this amount of damage is absolutely astonishing to me.
Henderson's working as hard as he can. Seems to be falling back a little bit here. Henry's going to get to his inside, and Rogers is going to try to as well. While we still have Branski and Madalinas in a way kind of going at it up front. Madalinas is giving up that inside to Branski, and Branski's able to get to his inside in the corner. But Madalinas just gets such a huge run off the corner that Branski doesn't stand a chance on that inside right now. But Henderson and Henry still going at it back here as well.
One thing that I think is a bit of a trend here at this racetrack is ever since the lanes started to even out with the pace, that the high lane starts to become better and better as the tires start to wear out, because you're just able to stay in the throttle more in these cars. And while you can get a run like Branski's been getting and try and pull up to the quarter panel, if you even miss it by a little bit, you are just not going to be able to make the pass.
Madalinas still leading the field. Branski is pushing though. He wants that lead. He wants to end the season on a high note. He's going to get the championship, but he also wants to win the race. Jacob Branski, he wants to win and the championship. Can he get it done? He's going to jump to the inside of Madalinas once again. Madalinas really close to the wall in the middle of the corner there. Really close. He'll keep it off the wall and hang on to the lead still. Heller lurking in right behind these two drivers right now.
I'd say for both of these drivers up front right now, they need to make sure they take care of those tires, because Madalinas running the high side is carrying more speed, burning more tire because of that speed, but Branski's having to turn more on the bottom of the racetrack, and so he's burning tire doing that. And behind them, Christopher Heller's not having to do any of that. He's just running whatever lane he wants and taking care of his stuff.
I'm looking back because I think I saw something happen in the background the last time these drivers came down the back straightaway. But the last time these drivers came down this back straightaway, Tyler Mcclellan had a very, very close call. Got completely sideways off turn 2. And Robert Kenny almost got him into the door. A very impressive save from the number 12 of McClellan. Always been a very good driver, but has not quite had too many great finishes. I think he had a top 3 a couple weeks ago in one of the 2 series. But always very fast and very strong. You see Branski right here once again, just threatening Madalinas on the inside, but he just can't even get to the door right now.
He's been trying some different stuff. He started to go up higher and kind of go where Madalinas has been going, and then just changing his lane a little bit in the center of the corner, and it's been kind of working. He's been pulling away a little bit from Christopher Heller as these two are starting to drive out a little, and he's been getting closer and closer to get himself onto that quarter panel to drag Madalinas back off the corner.
Branski just keeps on peeking to that inside, especially in 1 and 2. Not able to once again get to the quarter panel. These two have separated themselves from Christopher Heller just a little bit. They've separated themselves by a couple of car lengths back to the number 11 of Christopher Heller.
Yeah, another great battle is also for the 4th position. Just a second ago, they were bumper to bumper between Zachary Henry and Zach Rogers. The two Zachs were going at it for a minute there. But now, Zachary Henry grabs the 4th spot and is now going to run down the front of the field.
Henry moves up to 4th. He's shown his speed throughout a good amount of the day. Can he get up there to Heller and maybe put a threat on? I'm gonna check the speeds of the line because we're in the longer run portion of this run here. Oh, Branski gets off the corner. Very strong that time next to Madalinas. Madalinas got a little loose off the corner, it looked like, and they almost made contact. This is Branski's best opportunity to take the lead back from Madalinas. Will he jump up in front of him? He has the spot right now, and he will move up in front of him coming off the corner. Madalinas will have the run, and he'll jump to the inside. Another crossover opportunity for the 95 of Madalinas, and a very aggressive move from Madalinas going into 3 and 4, immediately getting in front of Branski. Now here comes Heller. Heller's in the conversation. Branski once again going to cross over. These two are just going to cross over back and forth. And Heller is going to enter the conversation. This could possibly get 3 wide momentarily.
Yeah, the thing is, I mean, they want to keep battling because the moment one of them gives up, the one who gives up is the one who's in 2nd position. It's just so hard to make the pass again, but at the same time, they gotta worry because Christopher Heller could make the move on him. I mean, just that battling for 2 laps brought him from 10 car lengths away to right on their bumpers again.
This is some great battling here in the final race of the season, race number 11 of 11 of the Great Lakes Cup Series season number 3. Madalinas and Heller battling it out for that second spot. Here comes Zach Henry. He's entered this top 3 conversation. It's now a top 4 conversation. Branski's beginning to separate himself, though, from the number 11, the 95, and the 39. Heller has taken over that second spot, and he's going to try to set his sights on Branski.
He is going to be looking for it because now Christopher Heller, who has just been hanging out there in the 3rd position for most of this run, is now freed up for the 2nd spot, and the only driver ahead of him is going to be Jacob Branski.
Heller's trying to get that first win of the season. Dominated last season. He is winless this season. He pretty much has the 3rd spot in the points locked up. He was a championship contender all season long up until this last race. Can he get a win before the season's up? Watching Henry back here, he's moved into the 3rd spot in front of Madalinas. Can he snag another win on the year? He's had a very good last few months, has a couple of victories over the last couple of weeks. He's looking to get another one here today.
He's going to be looking for it. And what I like about Zachary Henry is he's such a great qualifier here in Great Lakes. We've noticed for a lot of the races he's been in, he qualifies exceptionally well. If he's not getting pole, he's typically within the top 3 or 4 almost every single race. So it shows that he's got some really good pace. He's just got to hone it. As you see right there, he's got the awareness as well to get around Lewis Woodall. But he's starting to slowly hone in his overall race pace and start to use that raw qualifying pace over the longer runs the more and more races he runs.
That was a really scary moment between Henry and Woodall. Woodall slid up the racetrack and almost got Henry in the door. Like you said, Alex, very good awareness from the 39 of Zachary Henry, able to get around Lewis Woodall, because that could have been really, really bad. That was very close to very heavy contact. Watching the 37 of Henderson, he's fallen back quite a bit, and this is what I was worried about with him. I was worried that this damage was going to affect his long run pace. Henderson's one of those drivers that prides himself on the longer runs, and right now he's one of the slowest, if not the slowest driver on the racetrack right now with that damage.
That really was my greatest concern, seeing him up racing at the front of the field as early as he was in that run and for as long as he was. I knew eventually at some point that damage was going to catch up to him, and now it definitely is, as now he's over 5 seconds away from the lead.
Henderson's falling fast, and now he's getting approached by Tyler Mcclellan, who's going to try to get past him on the high side. And here comes Tyler Dewar as well. The Tyler's coming through. They're going to try to get past Henderson. Heller not really missing anything up front. Heller and Henry are still trying to charge down Branski, but it's not really working. Branski is running quicker lap times than Heller, but Henry is caught up to Heller. Henry is the quickest driver on the racetrack right now. Zachary Henry, the driver of 39. You're watching Henderson try to hang on to as many spots as he can. Henderson already has 2nd place in the points locked up. He's just trying to get the best finish he can in the final race of the season.
Yeah, I'm actually liking the lines that Zachary Henry's running as he starts to try and make the move on Christopher Heller for the 2nd spot. He's alongside now. He's making the pass. Zachary Henry making the moves, and now he's looking to pass Christopher Heller for the spot. He's been running really solid over this run for sure. I've been liking his line, as I was about to mention, and now the line's starting to work out as he's making the pass.
Henry's trying to make that pass to the inside. Heller was able to get a phenomenal run of turns 3 and 4 and able to keep to his outside. Henry is fighting very hard on that inside to try to complete the pass on Heller. Heller is not going to give up that easy. He's fighting very, very tough on the high side.
Looks like he's not going to be able to make it, surprisingly. He's been running really great on that bottom lane, and that's where he even set up the move in the first place. Christopher Heller running strong on that high lane.
Henry's just not able to come off of the corner the way he wants to in that number 39 machine. That's really the deciding factor right now between these two. Henry is trying to make the pass. He might even have a little more speed than Heller, but he just can't quite complete it.
And Branski's just running away from them right now. I mean, Christopher Heller surprisingly just does not have the pace I expected him to have, especially after just pretty much relaxing there in that third position for most of this run. He's really not found the long run pace that I expected him to have.
Yeah, the last long run we had, I felt like Christopher Heller and Jacob Manning were the two fast guys on the long run. Manning, of course, out of this race after his contact with Tom Bourne. Heller's still in this thing, and he seems to he's not necessarily struggling on this long run. He's actually doing very good compared to the rest of the field. But Branski, he has the short run pace and the long run pace. He's still super quick. Him and Heller are the two fastest drivers on the racetrack.
Jacob Branski was just kind of adjusting himself early in the race, I would imagine, because, I mean, right at the beginning, he qualified 6th and fell back to 9th. I was almost worried about his pace tonight, but he's turned himself around, is dominantly leading the field at the moment.
Yeah, the dog is definitely dogging the field right now in that number 23 machine, looking very strong on his way to his first career championship in Great Lakes competition. He's looking to finish it off with the victory, but he is approaching lap traffic here. He's approaching, you see it on your screen, Brandon Barkuski and that very destroyed number 25 for 2511 Racing. Number 25 of Brandon Barkuski, full-time driver over in the Truck Series, making an appearance here today in the Great Lakes Cup Series. Branski is approaching him very quickly, and Barkuski will go one lap down.
Hopefully this should not be too bad of a pass for Branski. I hope that nothing happens between him and the lap car, but we've seen things happen every now and then in this series and in real life with lap cars. But Zachary Henry back to this battle. He's on his bumper again, running really strong. He's going to make this move soon. There's no way that he's just unable to pass him, as again he pulls alongside. This is the best run he's had so far. I think he just cleared Heller right there. Yes, he did. That was a fantastic corner from Zachary Henry.
Yeah, fantastic corner from Henry, but I think the real kicker was Heller didn't really get off the corner all that good that time, and Henry was able to clear him coming down the backstretch and actually put a little distance between himself and Heller in 3 and 4, and he's already around 3 car lengths in front of Heller.
Oh, I think I'm starting to notice a bit of a development happening further towards the mid-pack of the field, but with Tyler Doar making his first start, he's starting to drive up forward towards this top 5, surprisingly. He was really far in the back earlier in the race, but he's just been running a really clean pace, and now he's running really fast against the guys in front of him. Almost about to make the move here on Robert Kenny for the 5th spot.
Tyler Doar, number 77 machine, making his first appearance in Great Lakes competition here in the Great Lakes Cup Series for the season finale of season number 3. And he's looking strong here on the long run. He's driven down Robert Kenny. He's right there on his bumper. Where does he go? He's going to go to the inside of Robert Kenny, and both these drivers have been approaching Hunter Madalinas.
Yeah, it helped, as we saw in the replay there, that Madalinas got extremely loose off turn 2 right in front of Robert Kenny. Checked both of them up as Madalinas is coming to pit road.
And we might have just entered the fuel window here at Atlanta Motor Speedway. Here comes Hunter Madalinas down pit road. These drivers have not been down pit road in around 42 laps right now. This is Madalinas. This is the first green flag pit stop of the day. Possibly the start of the cycle. Will we see more drivers come down pit road this time by?
Could be possible, because if Madalinas is coming down pit road, then I imagine the pit window is going to be open here already in this next couple laps or so, as Christopher Heller's coming down pit road from the 3rd spot.
Here comes Heller down pit road. He's going to maybe try to leapfrog to the race lead here. The number 11 of Christopher Heller coming down pit road to make a green flag stop. So these drivers are pitting right now, so it tells me the fuel window for today's race should be around 40 to 47 laps possibly. These drivers have not came down pit road around 43 laps. I'm not sure how many more laps these drivers can last out on the racetrack. Branski still out on the racetrack. Heller is getting his tires, and he's leaving his pit box right now.
All right, so now we have a bit of a development going on. We've got Jacob Branski still continuously leading the field. Zachary Henry running a pretty similar pace to him and just keep in touch as much as he can. And now Tyler Dohar here in the 3rd position. after starting 14th and not running pretty great early on in the race, he's now found his long run pace and is now racing, but how long is that going to last? Because we've already had drivers start to come down pit road.
Tyler's moved himself up to the 3rd spot. Is the highest he's been up all race long, the number 77. 2 drivers have already made their green flag pit stops, that being Madalinas and Heller. I think a couple other drivers are discussing on pit road to come down pit road now as well, it sounds like.
Just, I saw in the background a little bit that Tyler Mcclellan was coming into the pit lane, but he overshot it and got into the grass on pit entry. Now he's in his pit box now, but it's likely that he's got a penalty for the unsafe pit entry.
I'm not sure what happened here, but it looks like to me that Christopher Heller might have had a black flag that he had served on pit road. Because he was in his pit box for quite a long time in the number 11 machine, or he was repairing some sort of damage that I did not see. Yeah, he was stuck on pit road for an awfully long time in that number 11 machine. He's currently 2 laps down Christopher Heller.
Jacob Branski and Zachary Henry both coming down pit road on the same lap. So nothing's going to change, at least gap-wise. The only gap change that's going to happen is going to be through the pit lane cycle. That's going to allow Tyler Doar to get the lead and start to lead his first laps here in the Great Lakes Cup Series.
Tyler Doar going to lead his first laps in the Great Lakes Cup Series, possibly this time by Robert Kenny right in behind him. The number 34 machine, Kenny's had a very good run, been running in the top 5 pretty much all day, but he just seems to lack that long run speed here today. And Rogers overshoots his pit box once again. Rogers overshot his pit box under caution. He just overshot his pit box by a good pit box and a half, if not 2. He went flying through his box. Zach Rogers, a very, very, very big mistake from the number 4 machine.
All right, interestingly, Doar stays out the extra lap. He's going to put Zachary Henry a lap down, and I'm not sure if he's going to be able to get Branski out of the pit lane. I don't think he will be able to. He's saying over the radio that he's going to be coming through the pit lane this time by. He's going to be one of our last drivers to come down into the pits. So he led his lap, got his point for leading the lap, and got his notoriety, so now he's going to come down pit road and continue his cycle. As he takes out the pit entry cone on his pit entry. Hopefully that does not give him a penalty.
Yeah, he snagged the cone going into pit road. I don't know if that's going to give him a flag or anything like that. I'm not sure how that's going to happen. Right now we're looking at Hunter Madalinas, who is your race leader once he comes back around to the front straightaway. He has a very, very strong lead right now. Around a couple of second advantage over Branski and Henderson, among others. Right now, Hunter Madalinas took the lead off being the first driver to come down pit road. He was able to leapfrog Madalinas. Looks like Henderson kind of did the same thing. He was able to leapfrog some drivers as well. He's up to the 2nd spot, but he's already running in the 32-second range. So he's been on those tires for a while already in that 37 machine as he pit 11 laps ago.
All right, so I'm interested to see with this pit cycle and how this pit cycle is going to work, because drivers came and had a run that was just about 48 laps I'm looking at. So 48 laps means they might have to only do 2 more green flag pit stops if they save enough fuel. There is a possibility that they don't save enough fuel and have to make a 3rd pit stop, because we are at an awkward length at the end of this race.
Awkward amount of time remaining here at Atlanta Motor Speedway. How will these drivers fit into that fuel window? A little under 90 laps to go here at Atlanta Motor Speedway for the season finale of season number 3. Hunter Madalinas, aka the closer, leading the field right now with Branski right in behind him in 2nd place and Henderson running in 3rd. Henry's back and forth, and Nick Martin's moved himself into the top 5. He's in the 5th spot.
Actually, one driver I'm a little bit worried about is Elliott Henderson, as he came in on lap 63, and as we saw him get past as his battle for the lead, is that he came in very early compared to everybody else, so his fuel window is going to be much worse than the rest of the field, as Jacob Branski is going to pretty easily make the pass here on Madalinas, who has quite a few laps older tires than him.
And Jacob Branski able to get past Madalinas fairly easily and retakes the race lead once again. Here, Jacob Branski looking to lock up that championship, season number 3. He can be hoisting the trophy at the end of this thing. But will he also be the winner of the race? Currently leads the field. He's already driven away by almost a second in front of Madalinas. These drivers are around 4 seconds in front of Henry and Henderson. Nick Martin's around 9.5 seconds back. And then you have Robert Kenny, who's 14 seconds back. Currently, your first guy a lap down in the lucky dog position is Lewis Woodall in the 0-13 in the 7th position.
And Lewis Woodall is not coming to the pit lane, I don't believe. So he's just looking to hopefully be catching a caution to get himself back on the lead lap. So right now, he's just kind of struggling at the moment.
There you see Woodall. Heller is approaching him really quick to try to get himself into that lucky dog position after getting a possible penalty on pit road. And then number 11 machine trying to get himself back on the lead lap, but he's going to need a caution if that's going to happen. And this field is just so spread out right now. Will he get that caution?
I'm not sure if he will, because there are a significant number of drivers that are a lap down right now. One of the notable ones is Doar, who actually was leading for about a lap, but when he came down pit road, must have had a problem and is now out of this race. So we've lost another driver so far, and now, right now, there's only about 6 drivers on the lead lap. Christopher Heller being the first one in the 7th position that's a lap down.
Yeah, Heller currently sitting in the lucky dog spot. The driver of the number 11 machine. Been one of the fastest drivers all night. Can he get himself back onto the lead lap and back into contention for this win? Because right now, this is the Jacob Branski show, and we're just all part of it. Jacob Branski with a 3-second advantage already over Hunter Madalinas as he continues to drive away.
Jacob Branski is absolutely making a statement right now. If there's no caution, it is a high likelihood that he wins this race, because right now Jacob Branski is just showing the muscle that he flexed all season, showing why he's the championship leader, and showing as of right now he will be our champion.
Jacob Branski looking strong up there. Here you see Madalinas and Henry battling it out a little bit here. Henry on the fresher tires. Can he get past Madalinas? Madalinas not going to give up the spot too easy. Henry's going to go to the inside here, going into 1 and 2. Can he complete the pass this time by? Henry looking to move himself into the 2nd spot.
Well, 5-lap newer tires showing why they're that much better right there. Zachary Henry makes the pass. Problem is, throughout the pit lane cycle, Zachary Henry was 1.8 seconds entering the pit lane, and right now he is 3.8, will possibly be 3.9 over the line to Jacob Branski. So he's lost a lot of time to him.
Branski running very good lap times right now up the front. Jacob Branski, your race leader. Right, that last time by, him and Henry ran very similar lap times, almost the same lap time. These drivers are on the same tires, same strategy. It's going to be hard for Henry to make up this ground, almost 4 seconds to Jacob Branski.
And the only thing I would say is that just some wacky fuel strategy helps them out here, but as of right now, both of them were some of the latest cars to pit, so I'd say they're the highest likelihood to make it to the finish of this race without any fuel issues.
3 and 4, a little past halfway here. Atlanta Motor Speedway for Great Lakes 250. The Great Lakes Series presented by ButtKicker. Season finale, race number 11, Great Lakes Cup Series, and possibly the final race of the Great Lakes Cup Series here tonight.
Well, as Jacob Branski leads this field, I'd say this is a good opportunity to go to a side-by-side here on the Flatout Racing Network and watch as he runs down the laps until our next cycle.
Hello and welcome back to Atlanta Motor Speedway for the Great Lakes 250. Didn't miss anything here. Branski still has around a 4-second advantage over Henry. I think Henry is chomped that down by around a tenth since the last time I mentioned it. It's around 3.7 right now. I think it was around 3.8, 3.9 before we went to that commercial there. Branski leads the field right now by around, like I said, almost 4 seconds. Then you have Madalinas around 8.5 seconds behind Branski. Then you have Robert Kenny, who's 13 seconds behind Branski. Elliott Henderson, who's 16 seconds back, and then Nick Martin, who's 17 seconds back in 6th. Those are your current drivers that are on the lead lap right now. And then, of course, Christopher Heller currently in the lucky dog spot in that 7th position. Looking at Robert Kenny, who's had a very strong night here tonight, has had a couple of very close calls with Tyler Mcclellan and a couple other drivers, including Hunter Madalinas, a couple of very close incidents between them throughout today, but he's been able to run there in the top 5. And then here's Mcclellan, who's currently 3 laps down, and that number 12 machine always shows a lot of speed, but just can't quite get the finishes from time to time.
Yeah, so right now, I mean, the field separation is absolutely insane. There's just a complete and total difference in ability and pace right now. As you mentioned that Zachary Henry was catching up, well, guess what? Just a couple laps later, he lost all the time that he's been gaining over the last 20 laps. Just like that, Jacob Branski flexes his muscles and decides that he is not going to be caught at all.
Zachary Henry running that very, very bottom lane. One of the few drivers that have done that on a consistent basis. I'm watching Branski, and he's usually leaving a good amount of space between the inside and his car, around a car length to a car length and a half. He's usually leaving between himself and the inside line. But when Henry goes through 1 and 2, he just glues those tires right to that white line at the very bottom in that number 39 machine, and he just runs it all the way through.
Yeah, and that's an interesting thing to point out about this racetrack is all the bumps around it just create such unique lines around here, especially even just for running the bottom. Around the bottom, the bumps are totally different based on how close to that white line you are. If you're right on it, you might be hitting bumps really hard if you've got a really loose race car and just throws you off like crazy, or you have a tight race car and you just go up the racetrack. Usually you want to try and leave a little bit of a gap down there because the bumps are just so rough right next to that white line.
Henry pushing that car hard, though. He really wants to get back up there to Jacob Branski, but he's just not making up any time right now. If anything, Branski's pulling away a little bit as we speak. Here's the onboard camera of the number 39 of Zachary Henry as he tries to snag another win. Coming off turns 3 and 4. Check the time as the line this time by. Branski with a 33.12 and Zachary Henry with a 33.09. So he caught up a couple of hundredths that time, but that's not going to be nearly enough.
Well, we will be watching for those. These guys are going to have to go through at least 2 green flag pit cycles before the end of this race, I think. No, I believe it'll actually be 1, my apologies, because of the time that they pit. So they're going to have to go through the rest of this stint and the next stint. We'll have to see if he can gain time on pit road. He lost out a lot of it last time on pit road. That's why this gap is so large. But if he can get 2 seconds of that back and get within 2 seconds, he might be catching a little bit of draft and might be able to run him down.
Henry's definitely doing everything he can to try to get back all the time that he can on this number 23 of Jacob Branski. Branski looking very strong, already has locked up the championship for the season. He's trying to snag the win as well. Just update you on Elliott Henderson. He has lost that spot to Nick Martin. He's fallen back to now to the 6th position. Elliott Henderson is back to 6th. Branski getting past Brandon Barkuski right now, lap car. Here you see Henderson not too far behind Nick Martin. Nick Martin got past him just a few laps ago in that number 42 machine. Henderson is just trying to get the best finish he can here in the season finale. He knows the championship's out of reach. He's trying to keep himself in the race. If there's a caution right now, he could still be in contention for the race win.
Now here's my problem with Elliott Henderson. Jacob Branski pit on lap 72. Elliott pit on lap 63. That's an almost 10 lap difference. I say that it'll only be about 1 pit stop but that's for the leaders. For Elliot Henderson, I don't think he's going to be able to make the distance with the amount of fuel he has, because he's already ran about 40 laps on his tank. And last time we saw guys come latest 48 to 50 laps. So I don't know if he's going to be able to make it to the end, or at least without going a lap down.
Here you see Henderson. He's just trying. He's just trying his best. Like, I'm really just so impressed. You mentioned it multiple times earlier, Alex. I'm just so impressed with the speed he still has in this 37 car with all that front end damage. Of course, he's not the fastest driver on the racetrack by any means, but the fact that he's even still in this race competing says a lot about his talent.
Yeah, he's been an absolute trooper the whole year. Him and Branski have been absolutely, as you would say, dogging it out the entire year between those two. And it's such a shift from last year where it seemed like almost every race, it was Christopher Heller's race. He won almost every single event, but just a couple weeks and a reset, and the roles have flipped completely. Jacob Branski was showing strength at the end of last season, absolutely dominating this season, and Elliot is just absolutely trying to make as much of a statement against Branski as possible, but going into this last race, it's going to be the swan song end of the season. He's just not going to be able to do it.
Here you are looking at Jacob Branski, our race leader, might end up leading the most laps here today at Atlanta Motor Speedway in the final race of the season. Jacob Branski looking to get his 5th win on the season, and he's locked up the championship. Can he get win number 5 of the season? Jacob Branski, aka the Dog, continues to extend his lead on Zachary Henry, pulling away by almost a 10th a lap these last few laps. He's almost 4.5 seconds in front of Zachary Henry right now.
Yeah, he's been gaining a ton of lap time the past few laps. While it was really close over most of this run, recently, over the last 5 laps, he's just been gaining multiple tenths a lap. He's kicked up the wick, and now he's absolutely driving away from Zachary Henry.
Branski just showing his speed and proving to us right now why he's going to be the champion of Season 3. Just doing so much here, just pulling away. Henry is on equal strategy right now. Henry has shown speed all year long, a very competitive driver. Branski's just making it look easy, continuing to pull away from Zach Henry in the 39. 4.5 seconds in front, 12 seconds in front of Hunter Madalinas, 13 seconds ahead of Robert Kenny. This race needs a caution for these drivers to get back into it. Branski is driving away with this thing right now.
We do actually have a bit of a battle developing. Zachary Henry is looking for the lucky dog position on Christopher Heller right now. Zach Rogers, sorry, my apologies. Zach Rogers is looking for the spot on Christopher Heller for the lucky dog spot. He's been running him down for over this entire run. Christopher Heller had the advantage early on, but now he's turning it around, and Zach Rogers is looking to make the passes. The drivers in front of him are making it hard.
Oh, there goes Mcclellan to the inside. I thought Mcclellan was going to wreck for sure. And Rogers and Heller looked like they made some contact right there, and they're able to keep it straight. Almost an accident right there. That's the caution that some of these drivers desperately need to get back into this race. Rogers and Heller, they need the caution more than anybody else. These are the 2 drivers competing for the lucky dog spot.
Yeah, the caution almost happened right around them, and let's not forget, there is a thing this iRacing does recognize that if you get into a race, Madalinas is sideways in the inside wall. Is he going to spin it around or save it? Oh, these drivers are really struggling here this long into the run.
Madalinas did it again. He did that earlier, very similar fashion. Got up into the wall a lot harder this time than he did last time. Got completely sideways trying to keep it off the wall. You're going to see it right here. Gets it sideways trying to keep it off the wall and slams the wall and goes all the way to the inside part of the wall. Hits the inside part of the wall, saves it again, and he's just dirt tracking it on the inside right there.
Absolutely unbelievable. That's going to allow Robert Kenny into the 3rd position now. He's just kept his car clean the whole night, and now he's up into the 3rd spot by just being clean, and Zach Rogers has made the pass on Christopher Heller for the lucky dog. So if we see any more chaos and a caution comes out, Zach Rogers is going to be the beneficiary.
Yeah, Rogers made a phenomenal pass on Heller in 1 and 2 that last time by and drove all the way up and cleared him on the exit of the corner. There was definitely some conversation on the radio between the two afterwards. But Rogers showing his speed right now, getting past Heller and beginning to drive away a little bit. And that number 4 machine is beginning to drive down the number 34 of Robert Kenny. Robert Kenny, of course, is on the lead lap. Rogers' big battle is with Heller right now to give himself that lucky dog if a caution would to come out.
Absolutely. And oh, I see a bit of a pit stop happening. Nick Martin from the 5th spot tried to come down pit road, overshot it, and is in the grass. So that would have been our first driver to come into the pit lane. I also believe we might have missed it, but I think Elliott Henderson, he came down the pit lane on lap 110. So he extended his stint almost exactly 48 to 49 laps. So I'm not sure if Elliott's going to make it. He's going to be really close for him. But yeah, we had that driver come down the pit lane, and then we also had Nick Martin come down the pit lane.
Henderson's been really early on the pit stops here for this race, just trying to get himself in a good position and hope that a caution would come out. Here you see Nick Martin, though, exiting. I'm not sure what he's doing right now. He's just really slow underneath the line, just staying out of the way. I'm not sure what. It seems like he never pit in the 42 machine. Going very slow on the racetrack still. Very, very confused on why he's going so slow on the racetrack. The number 42 of Nick Martin, but he's going to come into pit road now this time. Now he's going to make this pit stop. He'll get Jacob Branski, our race leader. He's in a 4-go pit road this time by.
Yeah, Christopher Heller as well is also down the pit lane from what was the lucky dog spot in 5th. So now that's going to leave Zach Rogers the first car lap down. He's not coming to the pit lane yet, and that's going to leave our top 3 currently out on the racetrack still with Branski, Henry, and Kenny.
Branski, Henry, and Kenny, the last 3 drivers to stay out on to the racetrack. Looks like Rogers is still out there as well, trying to get that lucky dog position. Currently in the lucky dog spot and hoping that a caution would to come out. Branski leads the field by almost 5 seconds over Henry. He continues to pull away from Zachary Henry in the number 39. If these drivers would to pit right now, they're in the fuel window. They can make it the rest of the way on this can of fuel if they come down pit road. Branski leading, Henry in 2nd, Kenny in 3rd. Those are your 3 big contenders for this win at this point. Branski's pretty much in the clear unless something would to happen like a black flag or a caution.
I also hear that Branski's coming down the pit lane. So yep, Jacob Branski from the lead is coming into the pit lane. He locked the tires up on entry. Did he speed? Did Jacob Branski speed into the pit lane? Because he locked them up for a long time on entry.
Yeah, he really locked him up coming down pit road, Jacob Branski.
Oh, and there's even more chaos on the racetrack as Robert Kenny trying to come into the pit lane overshot it as well.
A lot of issues coming onto pit road here tonight. Robert Kenny now really slow on the racetrack, trying to get up to speed after missing pit road that last time by. The struggles continue. Get a replay here of Robert Kenny coming down, trying to come down pit road. It looks like here, just misses the entrance to pit road, goes through the grass. Good thing this isn't real life Atlanta, or he would have lost the splitter as we saw in the spring.
He got very lucky there that he didn't spin out or anything going on a pit entry and smartly turned back out onto the racetrack, as that would have for sure been a penalty on the pit entry. But he's going to lose a ton of time to these 2 leaders. And as I'm looking, Jacob Branski is still in his pit box. So yes, he did get a penalty for it. That's going to give the lead away to Zachary Henry.
Oh, and that is huge. And that's what I was talking about. That's what I was saying. Branski, Henry, Kenny, all these guys, and Kenny overshoots his pit box. Another mistake from Kenny. But if Branski makes a very bad mistake, drivers like Henry, like Robert Kenny, all these drivers can get back into the race. But Kenny's kind of taking himself out of the race as well. So Zachary Henry is now right there. Look at Zachary Henry. He's about to lap Branski.
That is just a moment right there. Zachary Henry, who was just absolutely struggling to run down Jacob Branski from the lead. Jacob Branski dominantly controlling this field, makes a crucial error on the pit entry and gives the lead away to Zachary Henry.
Branski gives up the race lead. Branski currently still running in the 4th spot, the last driver on the lead lap right now. He needs to stay in front of Zachary Henry to keep himself on the lead lap. Right now, the driver in the lucky dog spot is Christopher Heller in 5th. The other 3 drivers that are on the lead lap is Robert Kenny in 3rd, who's around 25 seconds back of Zachary Henry. You have Elliott Henderson, who's in 2nd, who's around 9 seconds back of Zachary Henry, but on very old tires compared to the rest of the field. And then Zachary Henry, of course, your race leader in that 39 machine, right in there behind Branski. Can he get up to him and maybe put him a lap down?
I don't know if he will be able to, though, as I believe Branski should still have slightly better tire because of how long it took him to get back out on the racetrack. So I believe Branski should be able to stay on the lead lap pretty comfortably as he's already gapped him. But just an absolute disaster for Jacob Branski. Really, his only chance at a position right now is to run down Robert Kenny and possibly hope that Elliott Henderson falls off a lot late in the run.
Well, Henderson came in really early for tires, so right now on the speedway, Henderson's running almost 2 seconds slower a lap than Jacob Branski. So I feel like Branski should be able to catch up to Henderson before the end of the run. But if he wants to beat out Henry, he's going to need to hope that Henry makes a very, very bad mistake or we get a caution flag.
There's been a lot of incidents going on today. It's absolutely unbelievable. I mean, the only person left on track who has not made a mistake today is our current leader, Zachary Henry. The mistakes have shuffled up the field like crazy tonight.
A lot of errors and mistakes, especially on pit road. Almost all of them have came on pit road. We saw Heller have a pit road penalty earlier. We just had Branski have a pit road penalty. Zach Rogers has overshot his pit box twice. Robert Kenny missed the entrance to pit road. Nick Martin missed the entrance to pit road. We've had a lot of mistakes on pit road here tonight at Atlanta Motor Speedway.
Hearing Robert Kenny in almost disbelief over the radio. He's actually surprised he's still on the lead lap right now with the mistakes that he made, but I don't think he's aware of just how many mistakes the rest of the field has made as well. I mean, it's been absolutely crazy tonight.
Complete insanity, and whoever has the cleanest race might get the job done, and so far that's Zachary Henry. Henry has raced very clean, hasn't had any pit road issues, has been hanging out in the top 5, if not the top 3, all race long in that number 39 machine. He leads the field. Here you are looking at Brandon Burkuski in the number 25 machine for 2511 Racing. A very destroyed front end from that incident earlier with Bronson Stafford, among others, in the number 25 machine. Just hanging out 2 laps down in the 8th spot, just trying to finish out this season here for the Great Lakes Cup Series.
I believe possibly Zach Rogers might have also had an error as well, because note he came into the pit lane after Christopher Heller, but he is more than a lap down. He's 2 laps down, while before he was battling with Christopher Heller for the lucky dog. So Heller right now just has the lucky dog position over 11 seconds away from Nick Martin, who's just behind him.
You see Henderson in the number 37. He's continuing to fall back from Henry and fall into the clutches of Kenny and Branski, who should most likely be at Henderson within the next maybe 10 or 15 laps. Henderson's struggling with speed because of that front end damage, and he's also picked a different strategy here tonight by pitting really early and just kind of hoping for a caution to change up track position, but that has not worked out for the 37 so far here today on very old
There's a
tires.
loose on the back straight. Tyler Mcclellan almost loses it going into turn 3. He managed to save it somehow.
Not the first time today that Tyler Mcclellan has almost spun the number 12 machine. Looking at it now, a very phenomenal save. We're going to probably get your replay on that. But a very, very phenomenal save by Tyler Mcclellan in the number 12 Altel machine. I'm going to get you a replay on that almost instant here. Here you see Tyler Mcclellan come off the corner very low and almost spins it. Dirt tracks it basically down half of the straightaway right here. Saves it, comes all the way to the inside here, and he lets Kenny by on the outside.
A great save there from Tyler Mcclellan, and he manages to keep the car straight. So good job there from Tyler Mcclellan.
Here you see Robert Kenny, the number 34, as he continues to hang on to that third spot after his issues. Branski is catching up to him. You see Branski just now in the background coming off of turn 2. He's around half the back straightaway behind the 34 of Kenny. Can he get to Robert Kenny? That last time by, they ran very similar lap times. The Branski's been so fast on the long runs, and Kenny has been very slow on the long runs. So we're going to have to see what happens between those two as they both catch up to Elliot Henderson.
Yeah, Elliott Henderson's losing a lot of pace recently. I've been keeping up tabs on him. He's been getting really loose on tire and really struggling on it as he almost gets into the wall on turn 3. Elliott Henderson's struggling really bad right now.
Henderson is pushing that car as hard as he can. Those tires are getting old on the number 37 machine. He knows that Kenny and Branski are catching him very quickly. He wants to snag another great finish before the season's up. But Kenny and Branski are getting to him very quickly, and he might fall back to the 4th spot. Elliot Henderson, a.k.a. Bobby Carter, trying to finish off his season on a strong note after all that damage with the big incident earlier in 3 and 4.
Yeah, unbelievably today, with how many mistakes there have been, it's simply the driver who had the mistake that didn't affect him as poorly. And as we saw earlier on the pit stop, even though Robert Kenny is surprised over the radio, you have to remember he didn't get a penalty from his mistakes, he just lost time from it. While other guys got penalties that severely impacted their pace or just crashed in the case of Elliot Henderson. So while he's surprised, I don't think he realizes just how minimal his mistakes were in comparison.
We are watching Robert Kenny as he still hangs out in that 3rd spot. Last time by was a little quicker than Branski, so Branski isn't catching him pretty much at all right now. Here's the onboard of Robert Kenny. He's around 3.5 seconds in front of Jacob Branski right now with 29 laps to go here at Atlanta Motor Speedway. Robert Kenny looking to get his best career finish here in the Great Lakes Series, trying to snag a 3rd place finish here today.
And if there were any questions about fuel today, I think if anything that even if Zachary Henry somehow doesn't make it, which I think he should be able to comfortably make it, he only has to run about 43, 44 laps on fuel, which we've seen that comfortably happen. But for some of these other drivers, don't risk it. Just save the fuel, coast if you need to. In the case of Elliot Henderson, who's really off on fuel compared to everybody else, he's better off just letting the other two pass him because he'll still finish on the lead lap most likely.
Yeah, the only guy I'm really keeping my eye on when it comes to fuel is Henderson, because I don't know if he can make it. I don't think he can make it from where he made his pit stop. He most likely will have to come in and get a splash and go, or maybe he has saved up enough fuel in that number 37 to try to get a 4th place finish here possibly today, because Kenny's catching up to him very quickly, and so is Branski. Kenny and Branski more than likely will get past him before this is over with. And someone sideways, is that Mcclellan on the back stretch? Got way sideways into the wall once again. I don't know if he actually spun that time or not. He switched the cameras right when he was dead sideways in the number 12 machine. Once again, Mcclellan.
Well, this time he ended up hammering the wall this time, and that could possibly end his night, because he hit the wall very, very hard coming off turn 2. And it's just, you see, he got loose going onto the straightaway right there and just swings it into the inside wall. He's got significant damage. He's on the pit lane right now, and that might end his night.
A very heavy damage to the number 12 of Tyler Mcclellan. Showed some speed here early on in the race, but here late in the race has just struggled coming off of turns 1 and 2. I think that's the 3rd time I've seen that happen here today, where McClellan's almost completely wrecked the car off turns 1 and 2. We've seen a lot of drivers struggle coming off turns 1 and 2 here today. It's been a very close call for many of them. It's very loose, especially on the inner part of the racetrack or very close up against the
Well, there's
wall.
a pass for the second position, Kyle, as Robert Kenny got around Elliot Henderson, finally caught up to him and made the moves. Elliot Henderson's actually coming down pit lane, unbelievably.
Like I said, I do not think Henderson can make it on fuel. And Kenny, that wasn't much of a battle there, Alex. Kenny just kind of drove past him on the inside. Kenny with a lot more speed right now than Elliot Henderson. Henderson's struggling on those older tires, and I think he's coming down pit road maybe to get a splash and go, because like I said, I don't think he can make it the rest of the way on fuel.
Looks like he's actually getting tires at the moment, so could possibly just be trying to go for a quick time, be comfortable by the end of this race, because he looked like he was really struggling on that set of tires. It could have just been a matter of he doesn't want to wreck the car more than anything, as he's going to end up losing the spot to Christopher Heller, and I believe also lost it to Nick Martin as well.
And he lost his spots, both Christopher Heller and Nick Martin. Henderson will now fall back to the 6th spot. He's 1 lap down right now. Christopher Heller in the 4th spot is in the lucky dog position if we were to get a caution. Zachary Henry, of course, leads the field. He's up by around 25 seconds on Robert Kenny. Jacob Branski a couple of seconds behind him. If Kenny and Branski have an issue, there could possibly be a chance where we see a driver lap the whole field here tonight. Henry's very close to accomplishing that.
The only difficult part is that Branski has been stronger on the long runs than Henry earlier in the race, and as of right now, he is positioned ahead of him. And surprisingly enough, I mean, Robert Kenny, who was struggling earlier in the race, has found some pace. He's kept a steady about 24-second gap to Zachary Henry. He hasn't really lost a lot of time, so he's running very, very clean and solid laps as well.
Henry hasn't fallen off that hard on this run as of yet. Alex, the number 34 of Robert Kenny, he hasn't really lost any time to Branski either. Branski was around 3.6 seconds back a couple of laps ago, and Kenny's actually extended that lead a little bit to 3.9. So Kenny's doing a very good job right now in that 2nd spot, Robert Kenny.
Yeah, he is running just very clean, solid laps. I'm actually not sure if Jacob Branski's going to be able to catch him, as there's only about 20 laps left to go in this race. So Robert Kenny might hold on to a solid 2nd place finish.
You see Jacob Branski, who will be our Season 3 champion, trying to finish off this season with the best finish he can. Looked like he was possibly going to go to victory lane here today, and was quite possibly either speeding on pit road or had some sort of pit road violation. The number 23 of Jacob Branski, and got a time penalty on pit road. He's very far back right now, around 28.5 seconds back of race leader Zachary Henry in that 3rd spot. He's hoping for a caution if he wants to win this race. But if I'm him, I'm not even hoping for the caution. I just want to drive this out and just have this season end already and start thinking about February.
Yeah, because right now, I mean, these drivers are just having to run as clean laps as possible, make it to the finish. As of right now, there's really not going to be any position changes, barring a caution or a mistake from any of them. So right now, they've gone almost 100 laps clean. They've gone a solid 80 laps clean, so they've run a very solid race so far.
Yeah, been a very clean race here at Atlanta Motor Speedway for the most part, but definitely some close calls and some hard racing, especially earlier on in the race. We had some pack racing, and a lot of good stuff happened earlier on. And once we saw these drivers be to separate because of the green flag pit stops, it's been like this pretty much since. Everyone kind of has their own space on the racetrack, and it's kind of turned into a time trials sort of thing. And I'm looking on the track, just teching the time trials here. Branski's caught up to Kenny, that 2/10 that last time by. So Branski's not quite giving up on that 2nd spot, it seems like, yet.
Yeah, as right now, Robert Kenny's getting passed by the lap car of Hunter Madalinas, who was really strong early on in the race, just had a bunch of problems later on, is now 5 laps down. But I mean, really, the battle is going to be between these two right here, between Robert Kenny and Jacob Branski. Despite it being just under 3.5 seconds, it's really the only battle that I can see happening right at the moment, as Branski is actually catching up a little bit. He caught about 3/10 on Zachary Henry, and that was almost 4/10 on Robert Kenny.
Branski showing his speed. He's dropped down that lead to around 3.3 seconds now. So he's cutting at that lead every lap at this point. I've mentioned it, Branski's very strong on the long run, and Kenny seems to fall off the longer we go. Kenny's not falling off too much, but Branski is still doing what he's done all race. And will that be enough to get to Robert Kenny? That last time by, Kenny was actually a little bit quicker, a couple hundredths faster than Branski that last time by.
Well, as we're reaching towards the end of this race, 14 laps to go for these drivers. It's just a matter of, will Branski have enough time to nab that second position? He's already got that championship locked up. So for him, he really doesn't have to do this, but he just wants to do it because, hey, why not? It's fun, right?
The dog always wants more bones to win, Alex.
Dog does indeed always want some bones, but right now the person holding the biggest bone is Zachary Henry, leading by over 24 seconds over Robert Kenny. Just an absolutely fantastic performance here from Zachary Henry, who I was a little bit worried about early in this race. He's typically a qualifier. As I mentioned, he typically doesn't have the greatest race pace, but tonight he's shown it. He has great race pace tonight. And he's just done a very solid job at keeping the car clean, not making any mistakes, and running a solid pace at that.
Henry's trying to continue what he's done for the most part this year. Has had a very strong season here in the Cup Series this season. He's finished in the top 10 in all 6 races. He has 4 top 5s. He's came close to snagging a couple of wins in the Cup Series, and he does have a win over in the truck side. Can he get the job here done here tonight? Zachary Henry, can he get the win here at Atlanta Motor Speedway?
It's looking likely, as now he's starting to pull away from Robert Kenny as well, and the lap times between both him and Branski are just not enough of a difference to see Branski catching him with how much time is left. So we're already on 11 laps to go. These drivers are running down what has been a pretty clean race.
It's been a fairly clean race, and that's why you see a driver like Zachary Henry up front. It's really all came down to pit stops and pit strategy and what you did on pit road. Henry has had the good strategy, and he hasn't made any mistakes on pit road. He hasn't had any speeding penalties, hasn't overshot his box, hasn't missed pit road completely. He's kept it clean for the most part, that number 39.
I mean, frankly, he's just been running a year where it always looks like he just has the pace, but hasn't been able to close it out. But this time, I mean, with 10 laps to go, he looks almost certain to win this race. And a lot of the problems that we've been seeing happening really haven't happened so far. I haven't seen anybody have any issues throughout the field. It's just been drivers looking to close out this race.
Henry's really close to snagging his 3rd win over the last couple of months in Great Lakes competition and his 2nd career win in the Cup Series. He hasn't won since last season. He has not won in the Cup Series since last season. I think he won, I want to say, Chicagoland. I'll have to look back on that. But Zachary Henry looking to get his 2nd career win in the Cup Series here today. It was actually Auto Club, my mistake, Auto Club. Zachary Henry looking to get his 1st win in the Cup Series since Auto Club last season in July. Can he get it done? He won a couple of weeks ago at Bristol in the Truck Series in a phenomenal finish.
Yeah, uniquely as well. Both here and Auto Club are very old surfaces, do wear out the tires a lot, so it seems to be that he's got some really good pace here at these really old and high wear racetracks. So Zachary Henry might have a bit of a style going for him.
Henry just doing a great job here late in the season too. He's right now coming into this race, I want to say he's 6th in points. Let me check the standings real quick. 5th in points coming into today's race. And pretty much has that locked up, especially with Manning wrecking out. Manning was in contention for that 5th spot in the point standing. So Henry most likely will end up finishing 5th in points pending any sort of penalties or stuff like that. He has 2 second places earlier on in the season from what I remember too. So it's been a very strong season from Henry. He's kind of been almost that 4th guy behind Elliott Henderson and Branski in competition level.
Well, tonight he definitely showed some championship level pace, especially in the second half of this race. He just was extremely solid. So, oh, I'm watching him there. He got it really loose coming off turn 2 down the back straight. He's going to keep it going straight, though. So, solid stuff from him. He has been looking like he's got some championship speed. So, I'm interested to see how he does next season.
Just to update you on the Robert Kenny and Jacob Branski sort of battle, Branski's catching him. He's catching him very quickly too, but I think he's gonna run out of time unless something happens to Robert Kenny, because he's only 2 seconds back at this point. He's caught up around a full second in the last maybe 10 laps. But at this point, it won't be enough time unless Robert Kenny makes some sort of mistake.
And I don't really see that either, as Robert Kenny has really been one of the other ones, at least in terms of on-track driving, has not really made any mistakes either. His only mistakes have been on pit road over this last pit cycle. The gap between him and Branski is about a solid 2 seconds, hasn't really closed down an incredible amount. And so with 4 laps to go, he should be able to nab in a pretty solid second place finish.
Here you see the onboard of Jacob Branski, who is, I would say, the dominant guy throughout most of the day himself. And Hunter Madalinas also had a lot of speed earlier as well, but had either a speeding pit road penalty or some sort of pit road violation, and he got held in his pit box for longer than he wanted to. He's had to work his way back up to the 3rd spot. He's around 27 seconds back at Henry. He might have a faster car than Henry, but he's not going to have the time, or most likely not the caution either. We have 3 laps left. Will a caution come out before we get to the white flag? Or will Zachary Henry get his 2nd career victory in the Cup Series and his 3rd career victory in Great Lakes competition here in the Great Lakes 250 in the season finale of season number 3 of the Great Lakes Cup Series?
I feel like the feelings have to be boiling up right now. He's looking headlong at a win. No pressure from behind, no pressure in front, as the next nearest car in front of him is Branski, who's already on the back straight. So there is nobody near Zachary Henry right now. He just has to make sure he keeps the car underneath him, and he's got this win in the bag.
Henry just needs to keep his car clean and make sure he gets to the white flag before the caution flag comes out. Here he comes off turns 3 and 4. Coming to the white flag, you can see the white flag waving in the air. The white flag is out on the Great Lakes Cup Series season number 3. Zachary Henry has had a phenomenal day. He picked up the pieces after Branski maybe had gotten a pit road penalty. Henry looking for his first win since July at Auto Club in the Great Lakes Cup Series. He's locked up 5th in the points. He's had a very strong season, and he's looking to end it on a strong note here in the number 39 machine. Here comes Zachary Henry off turns 3 and 4 for the last time here at Atlanta Motor Speedway. And Zachary Henry will win the Great Lakes 250. And that's the end of season 3. Robert Kenny coming around the track. Will he end up getting 2nd? Branski's been catching him awfully fast these last few laps. Branski's only 8/10 behind him now. Can Kenny get through 3 and 4 with that lead? Looked like Henderson just edged out Heller at the line right there as well on those fresh tires. And here comes Kenny around the corner, and he's going to hang on to the 2nd spot. It looks like Branski's going to run out of laps and finish 3rd, but Jacob Branski, aka the dog, is your season 3 champion. Congratulations to Jacob Branski on his championship. Another new champion here tonight.
I didn't say that. We saw that for a last second at the finish with Elliott and Heller. I'm looking back on it, but that was a last lap, last corner pass from Elliott Henderson for the 4th position. So that was a pretty good move for him to come back and finish 4th.
Zachary Henry is burning it down on the front stretch as Branski and Madalena celebrate a little bit here together. Zachary Henry burning it down on the front stretch, getting another victory. Branski approaching the front stretch right now to maybe do his championship donuts. There you see Henry sitting on the front stretch. Great race from him. His first win on the season. His 3rd win in Great Lakes competition. And here comes Jacob Branski, the dog. Jacob Branski, you are a Great Lakes Cup Series champion, and you almost killed Zachary Henry. You almost killed Zachary Henry, but Henry luckily enough disappeared. Here comes Branski, burning it down on the front straightaway.
looking to possibly get some interviews here tonight. We want to try and bring in Jacob Branski first here as our current series champion here in season 3. Locked it out pretty solid tonight. Alrighty, as he finishes up his donuts here, we're gonna bring him into the booth here tonight. Jacob Branski, congratulations. You are our Great Lakes Cup Series Season 3 champion. How do you feel?
Feel awesome, man. It's been come a long way. It feels good.
Going into tonight, did you have any worries? Because there were enough cars in the field that if you happen to finish last and Elliot ran well, there was a chance of losing it. But did you feel like that was going to happen tonight?
I didn't think it was gonna happen, but I did know it was a possibility, and so I was trying very hard not to be the first one to get wrecked in the race.
Well, I guess you would say fortunate for yourself, you managed to avoid the big wreck that happened in a turn 3 early on in the race, and even almost more fortunate for you, but not for others, is that Elliott Henderson got involved in it, and his night really struggled after that point. Was that the moment that you felt that you were the champion?
I mean, yeah, at that moment, I knew that there was probably a very small chance, since everyone already wrecked, that I would be able to, that Elliot would be able to win. So, I mean, yeah.
And I'm sure you'd like to forget this part of the night, but it was a big game changer for this part of the night, is that you were leading dominantly for a huge chunk of the night, going on to the final pit stop. What happened there? You overshot pit road and just sped? Was that the penalty?
Yeah, it was a speeding penalty. Very unfortunate. Did not mean to do that. I had someone behind me, so I kind of went in a little bit like too hard on pit road, and I had a very low brake bias when I was coming in, and I didn't realize it. I just completely just messed up and locked them up, and I got a speeding penalty. So that's that.
All right, well, before you go, I'm curious. You were the best at doing this tonight. What was the key to your long run pace tonight, as you were really strong over those huge green flag runs we had?
Yeah, I feel like people don't let this car roll into the corner as much as they should, because at most tracks, it's you don't really have to like just let it roll and be easy on it. But at this kind of like setup, you really had to be easy with the car. So that was kind of just the strategy, was to just like slowly get back on the gas, basically.
All right. Well, before we let you go here, Branski, we got to ask you, who are you thankful for tonight for
Uh,
what it was not only a third place finish, but a championship?
yeah, I just want to thank everyone who ran in this league the whole season. It was a great season overall, even with the small car count in some races. And then I just want to shout out to Elliot for, believing in me and adding me to the Split Second Esports. And yeah, just thanks to you guys and the league owners.
All right. Well, thank you, Jacob Branski, for coming in to talk to us, and congratulations to winning the Season 3 Great Lakes Cup Series Championship.
Yes, sir. Thank you.
Alrighty. Next up, we're going to drag in our winner for tonight before we pull in our second place finisher in the championship. The guy who's going to be really happy tonight, Zachary Henry. Congratulations on the win tonight. It was a dominant one there at the finish.
Oh, thank you.
For pretty much most of the night, you had a really solid pace. You were not out front. However, going into the later stages of the race, you showed some really strong pace, just sadly missed out on a pit stop. But luck be it, Jacob Branski got a penalty and you found yourself in the lead by over 20 seconds. I mean, what was the emotion behind that?
Um, I overshot my pit box. I knew if I had any chance at even keeping up with Branski, I'd have to make up some ground on pit road, and then overshot my box. I was like, well, I'll take a second, I guess. And then he was still sitting there as I was changing my tires, and I was like, well, he must have sped getting on pit road, because I saw a little smoke come from somebody up there, and it just worked out. I guess I was kind of handed the win at Martinsville a couple weeks ago and couldn't take advantage of it. So at least I was able to take advantage of this one.
I mean, you say you almost got handed a win, but I wouldn't say so, because tonight everybody made mistakes. It seemed like I wasn't even aware that you made a mistake because other people's were way more extreme than yours. I mean, you were the best one tonight at not making a mistake. So what was the key to that?
Um, I'm typically pretty assuming a lot of people made mistakes on pit road. I'm typically pretty cautious getting into the box. I've progressively gotten more aggressive getting on and off pit road, but a lot of people typically miss the box, and that's usually something that's rare for me. At the start of the race, though, I actually had full intentions of running, in the front, right out of the gate since I qualified outside pole, and I dropped to like 14th, and that may have been like a blessing in disguise, just because of the wreck that occurred on like right around 25. I very likely would have been collected in that, and that took out some good cars. And then going green the rest of the race. I take a lot of pride in having long run pace, and so it just kind of worked out for me.
Yeah, early on in the season, I thought you were a fantastic qualifier, but especially lately, you found a lot of really good long run pace, and tonight you showed it. Especially here, you had some fantastic long run pace. So, congratulations on the win by having that. And before we let you go, who do you have to thank for tonight?
Uh, this first thing I want to congratulate Branski on the championship. He was real solid. Should have another victory today, but um, I'll gladly take that from him. Yeah, I thank my awesome wife. Uh, let's see, Undercurrents, the band Undercurrents for riding on the hood of the car again, and then you guys for doing an awesome job each week. As always, I look forward to rewatching the broadcast.
All right. Well, thank you for coming in and talking to us, Zachary Henry, and congratulations on the win.
Well, thank you.
All right. And to close out tonight, we got to pull up a runner up in the championship battle. Elliott Henderson, second place in the championship, fourth place on track, even after your incidents. I got to ask, though, before going into the race, what would you say were your chances were at the championship going into it?
0. We were just there for a good run. I mean, 16 points with 16 drivers is I didn't get a chance to qualify. I didn't get a chance to start up front or anything, so it didn't leave me laps tonight. So, if we could have come in and qualified and everything and started on pole and had that extra bonus point and stuff, there may have been an opportunity. But I was just out here to prove a little bit and hopefully go into next season with a little bit of momentum. I think going from dead last to fourth on the grid is enough momentum. But I didn't expect to come out here with a championship. I knew Branski basically had that all but locked up.
Yeah, we were wondering a little bit. Bransky was a little bit worried about it going into the night, knowing how many people showed up tonight. But I guess from your perspective, it might have been a little bit more realist. However, I mean, tonight, even despite the mistakes, you still came away with a fourth place finish. So, I mean, how did you manage to do that?
I don't know. We figured out how to drive the car 90 laps into the race and just made it work from there. I think everybody else basically fell into an issue. Henry was the only one that ran a super clean race, and that's how you end up with a 26-second lead. I mean, Kenny missed pit road, missed his box. Branski had a speeding penalty. Heller had a speeding penalty. A bunch of guys just had speeding penalties. So, I had an extra pit stop, but I didn't have a speeding penalty. Even with that last pit stop, everything went wrong though for my side too. I mean, got involved in that first incident. Had some right side damage from when I was trying to race Zach Rogers and just didn't know where the wall was. And then with I don't know 60, 70 laps to go, my triple monitors just went down to windowed one monitor. So FOV was pretty messed up there. So we drove that for 20 laps and pitted, and then got that fixed, and finally went back out for the last run and somehow caught Heller. I don't know if that made the broadcast, but man, we were 15 seconds behind Heller, and in 20 laps we drove up and got to fourth. So is what it is. Just wanted a top 5 out of tonight, but it was definitely not the most fun race I've had. That's for sure.
Well, it may not have been the most fun you had tonight, but you still came away with a solid fourth place finish tonight. May have been a bit of a swan song going into this race, knowing your chances at the championship, but still came away with a decent result despite your problems tonight. Is there anybody you got to thank for that?
Yeah, I mean, Jacob Branski, everyone on this split second team. I'm excited for what we've got brewing for both trucks and Premier next season. I think you'll see us come out and be super competitive once again. I plan to put a bunch of guys in the playoffs and in victory lanes. So I'm happy that our dominance carried over this season. I think Zach Henry was one of the guys that won a couple races that wasn't from our team, but otherwise I think Bransky and I kind of led the field for the majority of the season, and that feels good. So a lot of changes next season, but thankful for all the guys: Jake Miller, Peter Accumano, Tyler Mcclellan, Michael Levine, Shane Nicewanger, everybody that was a part of this team this season. Austin Moore, um, Briar Fritz, even who's coming back next season. I hope I'm Ty Aiken, who also won a race this season. If I forgot anybody, I'm deathly sorry because again, there's like 8 of us and I run out of names, but everybody on the split second organization is awesome, and I look forward to what we can do next season with the team and our rebranding and our new drivers. So yeah, thanks to everybody on that end. Thanks to you guys for putting on the broadcast, and thanks to the admin team for everything they've done. Broadcasts continue to get better every week. It feels like, aside from the regular hiccups, and hopefully we can grow this series and continue to grow the truck series on a week-to-week level. We've got the winter series coming up, so just really excited about everything going on with GLR in general, and looking forward to seeing how this all works out come 2022 and the rest of this year.
All right, well, we had a great time this year watching you and Branski duke it out. May not have been the end of the season that you wanted. Still came away with a solid second place finish in the point standings. So thank you for coming in and running the season with us, talking to us tonight, and congratulations.
Yeah, thanks guys. Congrats to Bransky. I mean, he drove a hell of a season. So second place is definitely not what we want, but we finished second, third in this season, in this series every year. So we'll try to get him next time, and we'll lean back on those 3 truck championships and just make ourselves feel better at night. But congrats to Bransky. He drove an incredible race, and looking forward to what this series turns into next season.
All right, thank you, Elliot. Alrighty, ladies and gentlemen, that was our interviews for tonight. Solid race win for Zachary Henry, solid championship finish for Jacob Branski, and we gotta finish out the night. Kyle, let's go into the top 10 finishers.
Here in the top 10, you got Zachary Henry, of course, notching his first win of the season and his first win in the Cup Series since Auto Club not last season. Robert Kenny able to hold off Branski late for a second place finish. Branski able to charge back for third. Henderson edged out Heller at the line to get that 4th finishing position. 1 lap down, you have Christopher Heller in 5th, like I said. You have Nick Martin, Zach Rogers, Brandon Burkuski, Madelinas, and Mcclellan. That is your top 10 here for tonight at Atlanta Motor Speedway for the season finale, the Great Lakes 250, in which possibly could be the last race they could go under the Great Lakes Cup Series banner, as next season this series is no longer the Cup Series. It is the Premier Series, the Great Lakes Premier Series, premiering next season in February at Daytona. It'll be 100 laps at Daytona in February. There will be a playoff system in place for next season with the Great Lakes Premier Series. And from my knowledge, I'm not 100% sure on this, but from my knowledge, they're running the Xfinity cars for next season, Alex.
I believe that is going to be the change for next season. So we're moving away from the high downforce of the Cup Series race cars and going to be moving to the low downforce, very slidey, tricky cars of the Xfinity Series.
Great Lakes Premier Series, the first season of the Great Lakes Premier Series will start in February at Daytona. It'll be a 16-race season with a 6-race playoff system, which the playoffs will end at Homestead, start at Richmond, go to Talladega, Kansas, Watkins Glen, and Iowa. Those are the playoffs for next season you can call it, I guess, season 4 of the Cup Series, but I'm calling it the Premier Series, season number 1, a fresh new start, Great Lakes Premier Series, and y'all should tune into that next season in February, starting around the same time as the Truck Series, same place at Daytona, and we hope it's here on the Flatout Racing Network for next season. But I would like to congratulate once again Zachary Henry on getting his 3rd career win in the Great Lakes Series, his 2nd in the Cup Series, and then congratulate Jacob Branski on his Cup Series championship, his first championship in Great Lakes Series competition, and we'll see if he makes another run at it next season. And I would like to thank all of you who have been tuning in all season long to the Great Lakes Cup Series and the Truck Series. we're going to be saying goodbye for the winter, and we will see y'all in February at Daytona for the Cup Series and the Truck Series. Have a good night, everyone. Once again, congratulations to Zachary Henry on the victory and Jacob Branski, a.k.a. the dog, on his championship.
This broadcast is the copyrighted work of Flatout Racing Network and may not be rebroadcast, retranslated, or used in any form without the express written consent of Flatout Racing Network and iRacing.com Motorsports Simulations. Flatout Racing Network would like to thank you for your support, and we hope you enjoyed tonight's broadcast.